Blowing in from the Windy City, it's time for JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
Welcome to this week's broadcast of JW Fusion. I am your co-host, J.H. Carpenter Barnes, and I am here with
Wendy B.
Wendy B, the one and only, who is right so much. So, girl, you look good.
You know, I be trying to, represent my husband right.
You look good.
I got to rep, you know what I'm saying? Like,
did you hear what I
said?
Did you hear what I said?
I heard you.
You sure?
Yes.
You look good.
I'm going to always come through for you, baby.
You is good, but you look good.
Okay, thank you.
We have an amazing show this week. Once again, as always, and we have a very special guest. Baby, introduce our special guest. She is so lovely. Isn't she lovely?
About gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
Lord.
I think Stevie Wonder wrote that song. She wasn't even here yet.
So we have our author friend. She's my new best friend. She don't know that yet, but I'm going to tell her later.
Okay.
Tashiana Banks, author, survivor. Thank you for your service in the military. Like, you boss all day.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on our show.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, so much to talk about. So Cracked Foundation is your book.
Yes.
So let's just go right in.
Hold the book up. So they can see it.
Let us show the people the book.
They can't see it on radio, but they can see it on
see this book right
video.
here. Look at that picture. You see that picture?
You need to look at that.
The picture.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. Y'all need to go out and get this book.
She fine,
it's
y'all.
awesome.
She fine. So Cracked Foundation is fiction, and
Yes.
it's based on your life as a daughter with a mom with lupus.
Yes.
Now, because I'm always be regular. We know lupus through Toni Braxton kind of, and that's
Yes.
kind of it, and the lupus awareness. But you're bringing it from a perspective that's deep. You're from a child watching your mom as you grow up deal with this. And now, is it considered a disease, correct?
Yes,
okay.
it is. It's autoimmune disease.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So tell us, just go get started. Tell us about you. Tell us about the book.
Okay, so about me, this is my first book. I was super excited, and
we know about the first book.
I just published it in August.
Okay.
Of 2018.
Yep, 2018.
Okay.
And pretty much I've journaled ever since I was a young girl, maybe junior high. So I thought it'd be a good idea to take my journal as an outline and turn it into a book. So there's a lot of journal entries throughout my book that are actually very personal, that come directly from my journal, that are going throughout the book. And so Cracked Foundation, it's a young adult fiction based on actual events. And it pretty much comes through the trials and tribulations that my mother faced with lupus. So it takes place in the late 80s.
Okay.
And I was about 11 years old when it first hit her, or attacked her, should I say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what lupus was at that particular time. So she went right into the hospital for like months before they could ever really figure out. She went down to, she's a little bit taller than me, so she's probably about 5'10", maybe 6 feet. So she got down to like 105 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Lost all of her hair. She even lost her eyesight for a temporary minute. Her memory was faded for a while, to the point where she didn't even remember having children.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were you like at that time, were you kind of like helping take care of your mom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was 11 at the particular time. I had an older sister.
Okay.
Who was there, but then my mom was also dating someone at that particular time who actually stepped in and kind of helped us out as children.
Oh, wonderful.
And
what
so
a blessing.
like I said, throughout the book, I just really wanted to show, like, when something catastrophic hits a family, unfortunately, sometimes it's the children that are kind of left in the cold.
Yeah.
Due to, I don't say it's someone's, I'm not pointing any fingers, but, a lot of people feel, oh, they're not going to understand.
Yeah.
Or
we're trying to protect the children, so we're not going to tell.
So we're not going to tell. But unfortunately, we had it firsthand, and we had to be there with her.
Wow.
So we went through all of her depression, all of her mood swings, all the changes. Like I said, her not even remembering having kids, so she denied us for a while. She didn't remember us.
Now, that's the age, too, like around 11, 12. The hormones are going on.
Yes.
You're kind of questioning yourself.
Yes.
You're not really embracing who you are as a person. And then you have this added to it.
Right.
So how are you going to school and dealing with your mom? Like, you're at school worrying, is your mom okay? How are you getting through this process?
I still go back and comb through my journals, and I'm like, geez, I don't know. How did we do that? I mean, my sister in the book, I love her, but she's a special character. So she was going through her own battles.
Okay.
I don't want to be too much of a spoiler for whoever wants to read the book.
Yeah. But it's in the book, people. That's what we're trying to tell you.
She goes through her own personal battle, and she leaves me at home with my brother.
Wow.
So,
your younger brother.
My younger brother at the time. Yeah. So him and I just became BFFs.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And we still went to school, and I don't know. We still sit and ponder as adults now. Like, how did we know to keep going to school? How do we know to be right? How do we know not to get in trouble? And I mean, our futures could have been completely, totally different from what they were.
You know what's
she
interesting?
Gave you a good foundation.
You know what's interesting? I'm hearing your story. At the same age you were, was the age that I've told my story before that my mother and father split up because he had to leave Chicago. He had to leave the Midwest, basically. And it was during that time, I was 10, I turned 11 that December, and it caused me to have to grow up quick because I didn't have an older sibling in the house. I had an older brother, but he was, out living his life.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of because my mother suffered with migraine headaches, which is very different from lupus. It was episodic. It was like you have one here, you have one there. Or is it episodic?
I think
it's episodic.
It's episodic.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's one of those. But what for me, what it did was it caused me to mature a lot sooner, and that's probably what happened with you and your brother because it's in a kid's nature to misbehave.
Right.
So there was something that was stirred in you that said, "Hey, we have to be more mature." You didn't know that's what you were saying, but there was something in you, probably out of your love for your mom, say, "Hey, we gotta do our part." You know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes the challenges that come to us, the tests that we go through, they help to shape us.
They do.
They help to make us. And I'm quite sure that the things you went through help you to become who you are. And that's like the things you went through, Wendy, help to shape, because we could have all gone the other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So easily.
And use that as an excuse.
Oh, yes.
Well, my mama, she had headaches, or my mom had lupus, and, you could use it as an excuse, but you rose above that, which is important for people to understand. You can rise, even though it can be difficult. I'm sure you have some very difficult moments. Now, what do you call it? When is it something like a crisis, like with sickle cell? What is it called when things happen with lupus? Is there a term for that?
Those flare-ups.
Flare-ups, okay.
Flare-ups.
So like with the flare-ups, I'm sure you're
flare.
just like, here we go. Oh my God.
But see, with her, they at that particular time, it took place in the late 80s, so they couldn't even find, all they knew that she had a lot of inflammation. And
they didn't identify it?
And it's pain.
They hadn't identified it?
They identified it, but it was it took a couple months.
Okay.
And you said initially they didn't even know what it is. They misdiagnosed
the first time
her.
they thought it was cancer.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and so they almost wanted to treat it as such, and then they thought it was HIV, and they wanted to take some more treatments.
Because HIV was the big thing during the late 80s.
During the late 80s.
Yeah.
So, just because it was attacking her immune system, so just impacting her, like her kidney, her heart, you name it. Her skin color changed, everything. She lost her hair, and they just didn't know what direction to go in. So it was kind of like she was almost a guinea pig there.
Yeah, and that's a roller coaster ride. I've been diagnosed with cancer. Okay, I'm trying to come to terms with that. Oh, wait, it's HIV.
It is.
And that's even more devastating, kind of,
Yes.
Because back in the day, that kind of puts you away from people. They don't want to touch you. They don't want to eat behind you. They don't want to breathe the same air.
Of course.
We didn't have that information.
Yeah.
And then so by the time they get to lupus, is she like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, are you? Be sure.
She just wanted to get better.
Yeah.
She just wanted to get better. I mean, it all didn't impact her at that particular, as far as the kidney failure, and then when she had the heart complications, these are all year after year with something else.
Okay.
So it wasn't just one big blow and, everything went down the tubes. It was just hey, she lost all this weight. Hey, she lost her memory. Hey, she doesn't remember who she is, or she doesn't remember having children.
Yeah.
Then she somewhat gets better. Then they, try to get her the weight back, get her the color back, get her memory back, make her, check her cognitive thinking, help her learn to be self-sufficient. She had to learn to comb her hair again.
Wow.
She had to learn to brush her teeth again.
See, I don't think we know that.
See, these type of things,
These are
it really
things
hit her
people don't
heart.
know, because I didn't know.
I only know
lupus
Toni
was-
Braxton. She I think she rocks because she
Yeah.
still,
Nick Cannon is also diagnosed with lupus.
See, I didn't know that. But we only know sometimes if a celebrity has it, and we kind of hear the bits and pieces of what they share. But you're telling things that we never knew, like the heart failure and losing the cognitive effect.
Yes.
Not a clue.
So how common is lupus? Is it like...
So, and a lot of people don't
3%.
understand that, don't know this either, but I think it's, the last I checked on Lupus Foundation of America website, it's 2.5 million women in the U.S. And out of those 2.5, I believe, if I'm wrong, I might be a couple numbers off, 2 out of 3 of them are African-American women.
Oh, wow.
So it's more common in women than,
women
correct?
of color.
Women of color.
It is very common. There's a small percentage of men. There are a small percentage of men.
Do they have a cause? What causes it?
Stress.
Scary.
I mean, there's various different things, but they do say number one trigger now is stress.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Where
the
everybody is
trigger.
stressed nowadays.
Because lupus, what it does is it's the body attacks itself.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I can see where it's so hard to get, misdiagnosis because, I mean, we all get stressed in day-to-day life
Every
sometimes,
day.
and we get headaches or migraines or something might affect our body, and we may think it's just, I need to rest.
Definitely.
You don't think it's
Definitely.
something else.
A lot
major.
of people don't know that disease is triggered, like for instance with stress, is triggered by our own bodies. The things that we focus, like stress, for example, or worry,
it's dis-ease.
It's dis-ease.
Yeah.
It's an uneasiness, an imbalance, an incongruity. It's an imbalance in your body. And so what happens is when you're stressed, we're not designed to maintain a stress disposition over a long period of time.
Some of us are in constant stress.
Because it's an animalistic stress is an animalistic response to danger.
Yes.
Definitely.
And it's like a fight or flight in an instance. And then once you are away from the danger,
Supposed to be.
The wolf isn't chasing you, the pit bull isn't chasing you anymore. You can slow down and your body can get back to homeostasis and balance, and you're out of it. But with stress, your mind is telling your body that there's still danger.
Yes.
And your body starts creating these chemicals that do Lord knows what to us.
Yeah, because
I
really
believe
it's not a bad thing. It's a help, but
it's
constantly,
daily. Right, it's a part of our
Causes
humanity.
problems.
It's a part of survival.
Right.
But unfortunately, a lot of people now, because we're all pressured to succeed, we're pressured because of financial issues, emotional, relational, family issues.
You want to be successful.
Any number of things.
Of course.
It could be any number of things. But most of the things that we stress about are behind us. Things that are in our past, and we keep rehearsing those things.
We're still lamenting over something that we have no control over.
Right, as if we're, and your body doesn't know it's not still happening.
Right.
Your mind is saying, "Oh, I'm upset because I feel bad." Well, what happened? Well, 5 weeks ago, my boss said, "If you do that again, I'm going to fire you." Well, that was 5 weeks ago, and you're still reliving that moment.
People are doing that from 5 years ago, from when they were a child and they're an adult. So, that's dangerous for our body.
I have to kind of tap into this, too. Like, I notice even in the African-American community, I hear a lot of people say that we don't address mental health enough.
Oh, please talk about that. Please talk about that.
We don't. If someone complains about issues, it's just, what is it, simple? Oh, girl, go take a bath, or, go for a jog, or
go get a
you'll
drink.
be all right.
Go get a drink. Yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah, that's you.
Here's one. You just need a man.
Oh my God.
That's you.
That's your problem.
Right.
Or it's because of your man.
That's why you're at the bar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I will open up for you guys. Like, after this book, the end of this book ends with me getting on the bus going to the military. I'm halfway through my second book now.
Okay.
But
awesome.
But in this book, I did have to get help later on when I became mature, and I realized, like you're saying, we replay those things in our mind constantly over and over again. And I think I'm such a jokester, you know, and I like to laugh and I like to smile. I don't like to be sad. I don't like to be cry, you know. So I think during high school, I masked a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I had no time to check myself or have any self-reflection.
I'm the same way. It's funny you said that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, she seemed happy. I'm like, I went home just cried, but I put on the mask in front of people because I don't want to bring you down just because I'm not feeling well. So I'm just gonna, like you said, mask it.
Right. But I also didn't know who I was supposed to talk to.
Yeah.
So I wrote in my journal. And that became my best friend.
That's therapeutic.
You know, and my baby brother, I didn't feel like I could confide in him. He's my baby brother.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Be there for him.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, through the book, on top of my mother going through all of her issues, like I said, my sister goes through a very, very, very tough time. So I also wanted to show that even though my mom was dealing with what she had to deal with, she still had to be mom.
Yeah.
She still had to deal with children who were going through changes, who are trying to grow up, who, you know, are experiencing things in their own life. You know, I had my first love in the book, you know, at 13, call myself being in love. Yeah. And, you know, and then later in high school, I dated a guy who, you know, I was like, oh, wow, I'm older now and I know what I'm doing and I'm getting a little feel for this whole boyfriend thing, you know? And then he got shot in the head. So that's in the book, too. And so I wanted to show that, too, because then again, I'm like, oh, God, something else hit me and I don't know what to do with this. You know? And so it took me some years to even be confident enough to come and, like, just tell my story, you know? And I'm just like, I don't know who this will help.
It's helping so many people, whether they want to, you know, talk about it with someone else or just feel like they can connect with you, that they're not alone. And that's a lot of why I do what I do, because, you know, having 2 special needs children and then being a single mom for a number of years, you know, I felt isolated. No one is going to understand this.
Right.
But as I am reaching out now and sharing more of my story, I'm learning there are a lot of people out there who are like that. And like you, girl, I sat on couch. I sat on a couple of couches, and you can't be ashamed of that.
No,
you have to go get the help. And in our community, it's like, girl, she's going to the shrink. Whatever.
Right.
I'm going to get better.
I mean,
at the end of the day, I have to be better.
That's what we did. Yeah, that's what you and I did.
Yeah.
We went to a counselor, and she was so awesome. She
dug so deep, Lord,
because there was some that I had issues. I had an issue about with a feeling when someone's trying to take something from me, and I would get angry and I would lash out, and I was, you know, could be a hothead about it.
He was very reactive.
Very reactive. I didn't respond. I reacted. Yeah. And I did. Wendy taught me, before you react, step back.
That's because Wendy had been on the couch
already. Look at the situation. So when we were dating, she said, well, you know, what do you think about us going to get therapy? Well, I knew at one point in my life I'd been insane from when I was doing drugs. And so I knew I had never been counseled regarding my issues. I mean, from childhood all the way up. So I said, I'm in. And us doing that, she uncovered things from when I was 5, 6 years old that I still held on to. And a part of me was still that 5 or 6 year old inside, way down inside of me, that would say, when certain things would happen, he would rise up and say, oh no, you're not doing this. But I didn't realize that. But my point is, to your point, you're absolutely right. We have to go talk to somebody.
Yes.
And we have to be willing to be vulnerable, I guess.
Yeah. And I think in our community too, we just want to say, okay, girl, you need to pray. Okay, so maybe your praying leads you, the Lord, to tell you to go get some help, to go talk to someone.
How many people also who need help, how do they know how to pray?
Exactly.
Some people, you say that. You just throw that out.
But
like
people have to stop trying to give a blanket answer for everyone's issues. Yeah. Yes. Sometimes, yes, it is, because Lord knows I pray all the time and it's gotten me through. Yeah. But sometimes you have to really listen to what someone is saying, and how much they're saying it. Yes. Every time I talk to her, she's talking about this. Right. Maybe you should go see someone and tell them, let them know it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's a reason there's mental health professionals out there. And I know I'm a better person because of my Donna, and then we're better together because of Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, you mentioned prayer, and you made a very good point. Most people don't understand that there are different types of prayer. All prayer isn't, quote unquote, in church
Right.
or religious.
Right.
Prayer, by definition, is connecting and then communicating. And the thing I've learned, and I'm writing it in my book, Shattered Ceilings, I'm explaining how we're to go about connecting and then communicating using the model that Jesus used. People think that when Jesus went apart to pray early in the morning before dawn, he didn't pray. Like when we were going to church, they had devotion or they had somebody praying, hollering out to God. But that wasn't the kind of prayer that Jesus did. Based on what I found in Scripture, he connected with God on a different level, on a deeper level. And he connected, and then there was an exchange, a communication that took place, which is deeper and more far-reaching. And what it does is it puts us spiritually, emotionally, mentally, where our minds, our bodies, the chemicals that the limbic brain is creating, that's sending all these hormones into our bodies, getting us angry, upset, mad,
sick,
stressed. Yeah. No, really.
Yeah.
It comes from
gets you sick.
The limbic brain sends all these chemicals because we don't know how to connect, how to calm down.
And then part of when you said communication, I'm sorry to interrupt, people don't understand, you have to listen.
You do, yes.
People want to just keep talking, Lord and I, Lord and I, Lord and I. Okay, he like, shut up. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to get your word. You won't stop talking.
Yeah.
But listening is a huge part of praying.
It's you know what? It's like if you're trying to explain to your child how to get from here to downtown, and you're giving him you're ready to give him instructions. And he's steadily saying, Mama, I got to get downtown. I don't know how I'm going to get down here. I got to be down there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what I'm going to do. How we going to, should I take the train? Should I take the bus? Should I ride my bike? You going to take me down there? Should I ask my friend?
Just tapping your fingers like, I'll wait.
Right.
I'll wait.
And then when you've exhausted all you did a verbal dump, then you up, okay, well, I got to go now.
Right,
you never
so
got
lost.
You never got your solution.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Yeah, every time.
We instead of connecting and letting an exchange take place, we leave too soon and we don't get what we need.
That's huge.
And it's the same thing with when we go talk to somebody as a counselor or a therapist. That person, God can speak through them.
Oh, and did he speak through Judy?
He can speak. He uses people.
Yeah,
he really does.
It wasn't until I got into the military that I felt. I mean, of course, we all, my mom says, you got to go to church. We're going to church. But as a kid, you don't really understand. You're just like, oh, my goodness, Bible study again.
I got to be quiet. I got to sit still.
Right.
Yeah.
Bible study again.
Yeah.
But when I went into the military, I can reflect now and say, wow, God sent her into my life for that reason. That's the reason why I needed to go talk to someone, because you're so used to being you.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, oh, this is who I've been. I don't need to change. I don't need to address anything.
Right.
And, until somebody comes around and says, hey, I think you had an issue.
Right.
Or I think there's something wrong.
And if somebody tells you that, don't get mad.
Right. No, don't get mad. I mean, I was like, really?
Yeah. Listen to that sometimes.
But it was my roommate that told me that I kept crying in my sleep.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even realize I was crying in my sleep, and I'd wake up and she was just like, yeah, what's wrong with you? I was just like, nothing. She said, what you dreaming about? I'm like, I don't know.
You keep crying, girl. I'm trying to sleep.
Right.
Crying.
That subconscious is something else.
It's powerful.
It is.
It's powerful.
I wanted to ask you, though, so you're graduated from high school and you're making the decision. Did you go to the Air Force straight from high school?
Yes.
So was it a difficult decision? Like, I don't want to leave my mom. How did you make that decision? Because you're going away, possibly.
It was a battle. It was such a battle. It was a battle. Like I said, her getting sick. I have some issues with my sister. There's the first time I ever had to deal with death personally.
Yeah, a tragic death.
There, yes.
Yeah.
But it was also like 4 or 5 other students in my high school throughout high school that also passed away. Various different reasons, things that had happened to them. I won't get into detail. I'll open up again. I was assaulted, by a classmate, at 16, 17. And, by the time my senior year is just like, is this what life is?
Right.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand this because I keep trying to be happy. I keep trying to be motivated and try to stay encouraged. And it seems like every time, you want to kind of climb up one mountain, somebody else pushes you down, or a rock falls and your foot
knocks
slips
you
and now you're
off.
back down.
Yeah.
And so the choice for me going to the military was, I knew that something had to be better. There had to be something out there that was better.
Good.
No, I didn't want to leave my mom. I was so scared, because I'm like, if she gets sick, does my baby brother know what he's doing?
Exactly.
I was so used to being in charge.
Exactly.
And that hasn't changed. I've been working on it.
It's all right, girl. It's all right. You're good.
My brother can tell you, like, even though they're grown men, they be like, Tasha, get off my phone.
She still feels like she's in control.
Yeah. So, I just constantly want to make sure they're good. But my decision to go in the military, I got into college. I was accepted into Western Illinois University.
Mm-hmm.
However, at that particular time, I didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. And then 2, I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I going to do?
That's huge.
And even though my mom, I by the time she was telling me about financial aid and we filled out all the paperwork and everything, by that time I was just like, do I really want to go to college? Or was I going to college because a lot of my friends were going to that same college?
Okay.
So then I ran into this recruiter who came up to the high school, and he talked to me first, and then I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And then me and my brother were going to the mall one day, and then I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just need to do something, though.
Yeah.
And so I walked to the recruiters, and my brother's like, don't do that. Mom's going to kill you.
That was my next question. Like, mom is like, wait, what did you do? How did your mom take that news?
Yeah. You know what? She was actually okay, because she said, I think my mom knew, too, because even when I was getting ready to leave, she thanked me. She cried, because she was just like, thank you so much for being there for me and being there with me and for your brother, and even though she cried her eyes out, you would have thought,
we're going to do that anyway.
World.
You could be going to West Illinois like, okay, baby, you be safe.
Yeah. But I just wanted to venture out, see what was out
for
there.
you.
All these bad things had happened. I know that they were bad, and I just didn't want to carry that forward. So I just, I had to go and find something that was positive, something in my life that I knew would possibly work for me in a good factor.
And it's important to know that, we've all had some levels of pain depending on how old you are. You went through a lot before 18, a ton. And a lot of people who are listening are like, well, I went through this. It wasn't as bad, but, so I should be better. Your tragedy, your negative things that happened to you is your story. Right. And it's affecting you. So don't compare to Tashiana had all of this. I don't have all that, so I should be better. No, your situation is yours, and you need to deal with it. But the fact that you always had something in you, which I think is God saying that there's got to be something better out there for me. Right. There's got to be happiness somewhere out there for me. Right. People need to understand that you go through so much. Right. And it knocks some people down, it breaks some people down, but you are able to rise above it. Mm-hmm. And that's important for people to know it can happen.
I think the key for Tashiana was that you desired it. Yes. You didn't want it because Sue Ann had it, or your girlfriend's boyfriend was happy, or you saw it. This was something in you that you desired.
Yeah, it was a part of who she is. Her makeup is like that.
It was part of who you are. And the Bible says that when we delight ourselves in God, He gives us the desires of our heart. Mm-hmm. And so often it's up to us to make ourselves happy. It's not my responsibility to make Wendy happy. Right. It's not her responsibility to make me happy.
And I have to have that misunderstanding.
I have to make if I can't be
I'll
happy.
Be happy when I get a man. No.
Right.
No, sometimes you won't.
Right. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
It'll be a big surprise.
Surprise.
Then you mad.
Right.
You wake up looking at him every morning, wanting to hit him.
I should have stayed by myself.
You're like, I feel a First 48 episode coming.
Yeah. But when we come back, because we're coming up on a commercial, I wanted to ask you, how did you decide to make your story, your passionate story, a fiction? Okay. Instead of just saying, okay, this is what happened to me, and this is this. So much. We always run out of time. We needed 2 hours.
Well, with her. You know what? I think that since you've adopted,
I have. Tatiana, we as friends, girl.
I think that this won't be the only time she comes on, but we will be back after this commercial message. We're having an amazing conversation with Tashiana Banks, the author and motivational speaker.
Spoke that into
Extraordinaire.
existence.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Because you have a story to tell to lift the hearts of a lot of young people, older people too.
Yes.
But we'll be right back after this message with JW Fusion.
This book is the story of Jameson Harold Donovan, who lives in the city of Sussex Falls. Feeling trapped in his dysfunctional marriage to his wife and a stranger to his own children, thoughts of suicide dominate his waking hours. Jameson discovers he was selected before birth by the Almighty to receive quasi-angelic abilities. Between the ticks of the clock. You're listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
We're back with our special guest. What's our special guest name? Say her name, babe.
Tashiana.
Tashiana.
This Miss Banks with us.
Her name is so cool. Even the way she spells it
Yeah.
is awesome.
It's unique.
It is.
I got teased so many times about my name. You know, they say, "Oh, you like super hood if you got one apostrophe in your name," but I got two. So I'm like, what does that make me?
You know what? I think that if someone wants, I got teased about being Wendy. Like, do you want fries with it? I'm like, really? Or Peter Pan, because I was, back when I was Wendy.
Oh, that's not. I got teased because I went outside.
See, so people gonna tease you.
I got teased because I went outside.
If they gonna tease you, they gonna tease you. So,
Right.
so when you thought of what caused you to decide, like, I want to write a book about this story of mine?
So I actually thought of this 10 years ago.
Oh, you understand that, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
I had the idea about 10 years ago. I will be honest. I just wasn't confident enough in my story. I was still stuck in, what are people going to say? What are people going to think? I've never wanted to be called a victim, and not even to this day. I'm not a victim at all. But
You're a survivor. You're an overcomer.
That's very different.
It is.
It's
very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people are like, "Oh, you're saying this and you're whining, you're doing this. Get over it." Like we were just saying.
Get out, yeah.
And it's not for me. I did not write the book to say, "Oh, poor me." There is no poor me. I'm good.
Yes.
Like I came out and I came through, and I
Yes.
think now that I'm older and I know who God is, it was
Yes.
only by the grace of God that me and my brother are who we are today, and we have the relationship we have today. My brother and my relationship are so beautiful.
Oh.
We can fight and we can be
You're
adults
supposed
about
to.
it too,
You're
brothers
supposed
and
to.
sisters. But but the book came about. I really got the fire underneath my feet to write it was when I started volunteering at the Lupus Society of Illinois. So I was passing out pamphlets at like health fairs and things like that, and giving people information about lupus. And this lady approached me, and she had two little children with her. The girl was the older one. The boy looked like I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6-ish. Maybe. And so she was telling me about her daughter's experience. Her daughter was 27 years old, and she had a cold that she just couldn't get rid of. And finally she went to the hospital and she died. And they said it was lupus.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And then she started crying, and I was just like, I don't know what to do but give her a hug.
Yeah.
So I gave her a hug. But then she was like, these are her children. And my heart just crushed.
Yeah.
Because as they walked away, the girl grabbed the little boy's hand, and I just remembered me
You
and my
your
brother.
Yeah.
And I went home and I talked to my brother, and I was crying a little bit, and he was like, it's all right. And I was like, Jay, I think I have to write this book.
Yeah.
And so he was like, do it.
Awesome.
He's always behind me 100%. He's like, yeah, do it. Do it. And I was like, I'm just so worried about what people say. And he was like, Tasha, look, if you're going to keep worrying about that, you're never going to get it done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're never going to see what you can
Because
do.
you got 2 commas in your name. You don't care what nobody say about what you got to do.
Right.
Well, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. You were saying about the criticism.
Yes.
Could you handle it?
Yeah.
That's the reason we have to grow into what we write.
We do.
We can have the story in us, and like the story that the book I've written, Shattered Ceilings. I started working on this book in 2008.
That's a nice title too, by the way.
Yeah. It's a powerful book.
Confirmation.
It's a powerful book because some of the things I've shared here is in there. And it's going to enable people to shatter ceilings, because if you can't break out of that box, you can't be free to be who God created you to be. Mm-hmm. And so with your book, with your story, you grew to the place where you had enough, as my mom used to say, you had enough lead in your pants to withstand the winds of criticism that will come. Because when you write a book, two things you cannot do. You can't be timid about what you write.
Nope.
You can't make excuses for what you write.
Nope.
Because if you do, you're not going to tell the truth.
Yes.
And if you're not going to tell the truth, you can't be a true writer, because that's part of the requirement. You got to tell the truth, and you have to give it your all. You have to be aggressive. You have to be assertive, that you were given this story by the intelligence of the universe, who is God. The ultimate intelligence put this in you for people to read, because sometimes there could be 1,000 people that need to read this book that will change their world.
Yes.
There could be 500, there could be 5 million. We don't know. The books that we write have a purpose. They're a prescription for somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my fiction novel, Between the Ticks of the Clock, I didn't know it when I wrote it, but mostly men have embraced this book, and women have bought the book for their husbands, because it's the story of a man who experiences a transformation when he experiences the power of the Creator in his life, that changes him to the point where he looks like a different man. He looks like a different person. And his wife saw it immediately and shifted her position of opposition towards him to one of submitting to her husband out of respect, and him uplifting his wife out of respect. So she's submitting to him, and he's uplifting her. That's the balance. That's the equation of a relationship where everybody is blessed. And that's the base, the heart of the story. Is all the action and everything that surrounds that is in addition to the heart of the story that's in that book. And your story has a heart. For me, it's reconciliation and redemption. For you, it's overcoming and victory. You know, and so every book, like what you wrote for your anthology, that story serves people. That's what it's all about. That's what we're here for, to bless one another.
And then writing the type of book that you have written, it was probably very therapeutic just writing it. You know, you've journaled, but that's different. You're kind of every day kind of writing down your thoughts. But when you're putting in a story form, that had to be very therapeutic, just writing it.
You know, I didn't know how to write a book.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't. You know, I've journaled, I've written poetry, you know, but to actually know how to write a book and all the formatting and the characters, the plot scenes, the dry spots, like all that, I knew nothing about until I went to the Writer's Digest conference in 2017 in New York.
Oh, wow.
And it was almost like taking
this
a
is
graduate.
annual? This is an annual? Okay.
Yes, it was almost like taking a grad class in a weekend.
Wow.
But a lot of information, met a lot of beautiful people, brilliant people, editors, other authors, you know, publishers. And there I met one of my, you know, editors who, she was going to help me when I was done with my manuscript, and she wasn't available when my manuscript was done. So I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? So she's like, I have another friend, but I'm like, I met you.
Right, I know you. Oh, I'm the same way.
Yeah, so she referred me to someone else, and come to find, I mean, long story short, the lady she referred me to was a New York Times bestseller.
Well, there you go.
And she just, I mean, you guys, I was so blessed to have her, because she shepherded me through the whole process.
Oh, wow.
You know, she, you know, a lot of people think you're just going to send your manuscript to editors and they're just going to make it the best story ever. No, they're going to send that back to you with a lot of red marks. And, you know, they're going to put all these comments and questions on the side of your manuscript, you know, to strengthen your skills as a writer.
Yeah.
And boy, did she do that to me. So we were talking about transforming and transformation.
Yeah.
These last 2 years, I almost felt like I didn't know who I was. I was just like, oh my goodness, I felt myself grow.
I was about to say.
There were so many different things.
Bigger, stronger.
I mean, just for me wanting to go to different places, talk to different people, I didn't care for it anymore.
Wow.
You know, it was just like, I don't have time for that. I got to do this. I got to do this. I'm more focused. I got to get this done. I got to get that done.
You know what happened? You moved to another dimension.
Yeah.
Because I tell people all the time, when you go to another level, you went to another level when you took on the willingness to write the book.
Yes.
You went to another level. You had to come up. You couldn't stay where you were and do what you needed to do. You came up.
Right.
Then when you met the right person, that the right person was the person you connected with. That person changed your address. And you had to move. You ever moved? Have you ever moved furniture? It ain't no joke.
Way too many times.
Yes.
And when you move, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's
frustrating.
Work. But once you get moved and you get everything set up, you say, wow, I like this place so much better.
Yeah.
But you paid a price to get there.
Yes.
You know, and that's what you did. You're a different person now. And there you're going to run across somebody that's going to need you. I went through that. When I was writing, I was going through all kind of changes. The editor I had, I was having issues with point of view and, you know, different things and consistency of the plot and so forth. And with Shattered Ceilings, my editor in Canada, Diane Ford, she was, oh my gosh. She said, what is this? What is this? I'm like, what do you mean? What is this?
But you have to keep in your mind that it's all subjective.
It is.
It's
it
all
is.
subjective.
And she forced me to bend my mind around proper structure. When you're trying to convey information, it has to be digestible. It has to make sense. You can't just throw esoteric terms out and people don't know what that is.
Right.
You have to explain it, and you have to be, you know, understanding, because you're ministering, you're serving your reader.
Yes.
You know, and so I know about that. You went through it with your story. You had to, you know, it's a blessing. It's painful.
But it's like anything else. Like if you want to get in shape, you got to go to the gym. You got to change your diet. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Right.
It hurts. Right. But the finished product is there, and then you want to maintain it.
What you call them, baby? The lines?
Yeah, them lines. When you start working out and the muscles start popping, them lines, then you're like, okay, but 2 weeks ago you were cursing because you didn't want to do it. But it's worth it when you start seeing the differences,
Right.
you know? So James alluded earlier to you being a public speaker. Now, is that something that you're endeavoring to do, or that you're already in the process of creating for yourself?
You know, I've toggled back and forth, and I know you guys might find this to be a shocker, but I was just like, I always cringed at the thought of public speaking. I did. I cringed. But, you know, I'm getting more comfortable.
So, James, we're going to have to talk to her because she needs to talk to the people.
Yeah. Because there's, you know, surprisingly, I was shocked at how many public speakers, I mean, the guys that are at the top of the food chain were terrified of public speaking.
Oh, wow.
They were, guys that are like the top 10, some of those guys, multi-millionaires. One guy in particular was worth over $400 million. He's in demand all over the place. And he said he was terrified, but he had to grow past that, you know. And we all, whenever we have something that's worth having, it's equivalent. It's not nothing's as painful as having a baby, I don't think.
Nothing.
But
what you know about that?
I just
He said nothing's so painful.
Because I've probably said it so many times that he knows it.
I done heard it. I heard my mother talk. My mother would say it's like trying to get a watermelon out of you. And I'm like,
it's rough.
Ooh. And then I thought about it. Ooh.
Yeah.
You know?
When you start thinking about the picture.
But it's nothing's that painful. But you're funny.
Yes.
What you know about that? She got me, baby.
She did. You're like, well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
She's like, I was really just playing.
But
okay.
but it's like any growth that we do is difficult. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something about growth that requires going against a resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I think for a long time I resisted it. I did because, and I will admit this, I was so used to being what everybody else needed me to be.
Oh, okay.
So
we do that as
I was
women,
playing.
though.
I was playing. We wear so many different masks.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so used to playing. Oh, I got to be this. I got to be this. Oh, such needs this. My mom needs this, or whoever needs this, or my friend needs this, and I need to be here for, and I don't. I was diagnosed in 2009 with lupus myself.
Really?
Oh, no.
Yes, and right then and there, I just kind of felt like I was devastated, of course, because the only person I knew that had lupus was my mom. And I'm crying on the phone talking to her, and I'm like, I don't want to die, and all this other stuff. And she's like, you're not going to die, And we went to different rheumatologists, and I went to various different hospitals because I just refused to believe that I had this. And they said it's not supposed to be hereditary.
That was my next question. Is it hereditary?
They say it's not, but my mom's known a couple of other people too, ladies who were sisters that had it.
Okay.
Too.
Okay.
So, and me and my mom, I guess can't take.
So this really is like really personal because it's affecting you.
Yeah.
Mine isn't severe as my mother's, so I had to calm myself down before I got too overly emotional. But
now, is there a reason for it not being as severe? Is it because the technology and the knowledge of it is better now, or you caught it earlier? Is there a reason for it?
No, they just told me that it just wasn't active. They told me it wasn't active, even though I was having symptoms. The first experience I had was I was running on the treadmill for about 20 minutes, and I did not break one sweat. There wasn't sweat anywhere. I was just like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then, my legs would cramp, or I wake up in the morning, can't move one of my legs, or it's like locked up, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Were you pretty athletic?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always worked out, too. Of course, in the military, we also worked out. But yeah, so over time, I want to say almost 3 years ago, I was on the treadmill again, and it just felt like somebody put a brick on my chest. And I got off, and I was bending over, and the guy that was next to me was like, hey, what's going on? And I'm just like, I don't know.
Wow.
It just felt like such pressure.
Yeah.
And so I go to the doctor, and they tell me that I have regurgitation and that my lupus is active now. So out of like 7-something years, my lupus was never active. And I'm like, oh crap, please don't let this be my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
could you tie it to like, I have been more stressed lately?
It could have been.
Okay.
So I had a flare up right after my book signing back in August.
Okay.
So I had all these things lined up, and I'm ready to go, and I'm just so excited, you guys, and I'm ready to roll. And God's like,
you know what? I'm gonna
slow
share.
down.
Yeah.
After we get off the air, I'm gonna share something with you that will help you to, I guess, move into another place. It's gonna be phenomenal. Because I've been doing it myself, and I'm seeing things happen. I'm planning on I'm going to have a class. I'm going to invite certain people to it. But I'm going to share this with you because you have, I believe, a tremendous gift because of your humility and your compassion. You have a tremendous compassion for people that are going through the challenges that you went through. Maybe they're not dealing with lupus. They could be dealing with.
It could be AIDS. It could be cancer.
It could be like Wendy deals with special needs children and special needs families. It could be something along that line. And when you have that compassion, that is the key to being able to lift someone else, because you can say the right words.
Right.
You can say the right terms. You can use all the catchphrases and turn every clever axiom that you hear the public speakers use.
Right.
But if you don't have that heart of compassion, you're not going to draw that person to you.
Yeah.
Because our hearts are magnetic. There's a magnetic energy in the heart. And so when the Bible says, with loving kindness have I drawn thee, that love draws.
Right.
What that means is not only will it draw a person to you, but it will draw out of them the healing that they need. Without you using special words, just because of the vibe you have, the spirit of love you have to want to alleviate their pain. That you have that. I can see that.
They're
so
relatable. I mean, you have
That's
been
what
through
I really
so
wanted
much. For you to stand in front of an audience, men and women, you've gone through so much. They can't argue with that.
No.
And I think it took me so long is because I just didn't want to get in front of people and they'd be like, what is she whining about? I don't know why I kept thinking that. I kept thinking like, I don't want someone to look at me and look at oh, she's playing the victim. I'm not a victim by no means. Am I a victim at all? Things are happening.
If someone is a criticizer, they're going to find a reason to criticize.
Of course.
But your job, especially with this story, it's so powerful. You have an audience of people who may not even know that they're wounded.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
they're gonna hear your story, and something within your heart is gonna tap into theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
and that's gonna be healing. Just to hear, they're like, wow, that happened to me. I never told anyone.
Yep.
Or I thought it was just me. You know, me and my family member.
Right.
You know how we overcame that. It's huge. I just feel you should.
I just feel today too, in today's world, I feel like a lot of the young kids, they go through so much, even more than I did.
They have so much.
Age.
They have so much
pressure.
So much
and
pressure.
So much pressure.
Right.
And I think I believe that's the cause of a lot of the obesity with the kids, because they're so stressed. There's so much pressure.
That and suicide. Suicide.
Oh my gosh. Suicide.
Yeah.
It's
very
all of those
big.
things are tied together. Suicide is you wanting to escape.
Yes.
And
Suicide is also you feeling by yourself. Like
you're
you
feeling
are
abandoned, feeling
miserable by
alone.
yourself.
Yeah.
No one's going to understand that.
And I kind of touched that in my book. There's a little bit of my,
cracked foundation.
Loneliness
You have to read
and
it.
a little bit of depression in there
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But like I said, it had to be God. I know it was, because there were times where I almost felt like, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna make it. Like I just, I don't know what to do with this. I don't have anybody to talk to. Like I don't know what's going on, what's happening. What am I supposed to do? And then the next day I wake up and I feel, okay, we just gotta keep going.
Yeah.
So you say you're halfway through the second book. Is it tied to this? What is the topic?
This is book one.
Wow.
And then Soldier Girl, a walk in my boots, not my heels.
Oh. Say that one more time. Say it again.
It's Soldier Girl, a walk in my boots, not my heels.
Oh.
So I just
That's
felt
a powerful title.
I feel like there's not enough women that have served in the military telling their stories.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking the guys. We're all brothers and sisters, the service.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's not enough women that tell their stories. You see a lot of movies out there, and it's all these guys, fighting. And we're in there too.
Yeah. You're fighting. You're in doing everything that they're doing.
There's a lot of us that weren't, pushing in papers and pencils and pens. There were some of us that were actually on the flight line. There's a lot of us out there with boys in the dirt.
Okay.
So coming from the childhood you had, I would imagine you had a mental strength going into the military. Like you've already overcome all of this with your mom and your sister, your older sister. You're like, okay, what else? How many more push-ups? Whatever. I can handle this. And it even made you stronger. That strengthened the strength that you walked in there with.
Yes,
you know what's interesting is how we don't know how strong we are till we have to be strong.
Yes.
That's really interesting because, I mean, if someone told you at the things you've gone through, say from 16 to 26 or 25 or, just maybe even 5 years, 16 to 21, and that you would have come out of that victorious, you would have questioned their sanity.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm not going to go through all of that. I couldn't deal with that. Or you kind of don't see yourself as this powerful person until you look back.
Yep.
When you look back, then you can say, wow, that was phenomenal.
And you get people like, I know with me, they're like, I don't know how I could never do what you do. Well, you're not put in that situation, so you don't know.
Right.
But you have a strength. Everyone has a strength. It's whether they decide to tap into it or not.
Right.
But you have a strength that has taken you through so much. And even being diagnosed with lupus, some people would just fall out. Like, what?
I did.
Yeah. See,
I'm not going to admit, I did.
I love it. She's like, oh, I did.
But you got up.
Yeah, but
you got up.
Of course.
That's what's
the thing.
important.
That's the main thing, getting up.
Right.
And the thing is that everybody's strength, everybody's talent, everybody's gift is different.
Yeah.
We don't need two of you. We got you.
Right.
We don't need two Wendy's.
Yes.
The world couldn't take two Wendy's.
I was about to say the world would not need it. It's okay. We only need one.
Yeah. So we all have a uniqueness in what we are supposed to do, our contribution to humanity. And I think the fact that so many books are being written now and so many stories are being told because people are pressured and stressed as never before. People are discouraged and unsure as never before. but never before has there been so much information, good information, that's being disseminated via the internet, via publishing, via YouTube videos, any number of podcasts. There's so much information out there. And if we're sensitive and allow ourselves to be led, we will be led to the outlet that we need. I know I have. Mm-hmm. I know Wendy has, and I'm sure you have. Your story with your editor is a perfect example. And with me, the same thing. The young lady that is, she's my editor. She's my little sister in the north. She's in Canada.
Yeah, we love Diane.
Diane she was in a group on Facebook, and I liked the things she posted. And when she started her editing business, because she wrote a book, like 3 novels, and I said, wow, she's a great writer. And so I reached out when I saw her. I said, so you're editing now? I read your book. I want you to consider editing my book. And so we talked and we worked some things out, and it's a great synergy. Mm-hmm. But I never would have thought when I initially connected with her that she was going to wind up editing a book I've been working on since 2008.
Oh, wow.
And what's important is from what the both of you said, and I know I'll do it in a heartbeat. If you have an idea or you have a desire to do something, you have to go out there and meet people. You have to tell people. Right. Yes. You have to ask for help.
Yes.
You don't have to just sit there by yourself and try and map out this whole plan.
Yeah.
There are people in whatever genre, whatever field you want to get into or succeed in or tap into. There's someone out there, and some people don't want to help, but that's in any situation. But there are people out there who want to help.
Yeah,
who are true. There. They have the talent. They have the experience that you don't, and they can help you get to that next step or even higher.
Right.
But I don't want to end without us talking about May being Lupus Awareness Month.
Yes.
What does that mean? What does that mean
Explain,
for? Like I know last
that.
month was autism awareness.
Yeah.
So, and that for me, that's a disability. Mm-hmm. And I know lupus can be a disability. It can cause you to be disabled.
Yes.
What are we looking to learn, or what are you looking to educate people with the month of May being Lupus Awareness Month?
To just, keep if you have any type of issue or complication within your body, if you've been having any, just go get it checked. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are like, especially, if the use of the home remedies, I'm not knocking that because I use a lot of holistic approaches also myself, but understand that, like, there's so many different types of lupus. Lupus can affect the skin. I knew a lady who couldn't be outside for a long time, and if she was in the skin, no matter the temperature, her skin would start to blister.
Wow.
But it's just the rays from the sun.
Okay. Wow.
That cause her to have different rashes. SLE, which is systemic lupus, is really most common, and that can attack any organ.
Wow.
Some people think, oh, it's just my gallbladder, it'll be fine, but it can ping. It can go wherever, internally. It could be your kidneys one time. It could be your heart the next.
Wow. Because your mom, you said, she's just finished her second heart surgery.
Yes, that was in 2017.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So May is Lupus Awareness Month. And we can get your book, Cracked Foundation.
Yes. It is on Amazon.
Okay.
It's on Barnes & Noble online.
Hold the book up.
Google Play.
Hold the book up.
Show the book.
This is a phenomenal book. This is a phenomenal
Cracked
story of
Foundations.
overcoming,
Yes.
of surviving. And do you have an estimated time when your next book is going to...
I'm trying to get done by the end of summer and
Awesome.
hopefully to have it published in the fall.
Okay.
Wow.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Can't wait
That's
to get
awesome.
that. And maybe we'll have to have her back for that.
Yes,
Because that title
definitely.
alone, I'm going to have to put on my fatigues, you know what I'm saying? My camouflage.
Yes, please do.
I'm going to have
Please
to show
do.
up ready,
Please
with some
do.
boots
Please do.
on.
We'll have to do the show standing up so you can see your
I'm
camos.
going to stand up. Don't worry about it. I'm going to stand. I'll be ready. You know what I mean? But that's awesome. I appreciate you just being so open and sharing this story. It's going to help so many people.
Thank you two so much for having me on this show.
Well, it's been an
I really
honor having you.
appreciate it.
And thank you for sharing your story. Listen, we've had an awesome conversation with Tashiana Banks, the author of Cracked Foundations. Until next week, we'll be right back on Thursday, 6 o'clock p.m., Artist First Radio Network. I'm J. Carpenter Barnes. Be blessed.
Hi, this is Wendy, and welcome to The Wendy Life. This is a brand new show. We are celebrating some unsung champions in our community, the disabled community. I have been a mom of disabled children for 21 years, and I look to bring light to this community. We are going to talk to and celebrate therapists, teachers, doctors in this community. We're going to talk to the special needs community themselves, people who are rocking out this life despite their disability, showing us how to live our best lives no matter what life throws at us. You can find us on the Ultimate Faith TV network, which is on your Roku streaming box, or Road to Eternity on YouTube. That's Road, the number 2, and Eternity. Come check us out.
The Wendy Life. New episodes every second and fourth Friday on the Road to Eternity channel.
Thanks for listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.